I'm Steve Lascalzo, and this is The Way. Welcome to the March 2024 This is The Way podcast Star Wars News Update. Do you have a burning regret that you never got to see a theatrical release of a Star Wars movie? You have another chance coming May the 4th, 2024. Lucasfilm is re-releasing all 9 Skywalker Saga films that weekend. As a bonus, anyone who watches The Phantom Menace in theaters for one of those screenings on the May the 4th weekend gets to see some exclusive scenes from the upcoming Acolyte series. You will also be able to purchase Star Wars Celebration 2025 tickets that week, May the 4th week, since they go on sale May the 2nd. And one other note before we get to the real news, I noticed that Diane Crittenden, casting director for the original Star Wars, which would eventually become A New Hope, passed away late this month at the age of 82. Now, I don't imagine that she had final say on all those casting decisions, but listen, I am sure that Star Wars wouldn't be the same if that woman hadn't been in the room. So, rest in peace, Diane Crittenden.
Everything's going to be all right, kid.
It's time to update you on Star Wars news since the last News Update podcast. The Acolyte trailer shown to Celebration audiences in 2023 was finally released online for the rest of the world. There's a June 4th release date for the first 3 episodes, I'm not sure yet. And that's, remember, 1 month after May the 4th, of course. So I watched the trailer. I won't comment in depth, but I will say it did not make me think less of showrunner Leslye Headland's vision, and that can be saying a lot. I'm not enthusiastic about this show, but again, I'm going to reserve judgment until I see an episode, and then there's something in there that I can't ignore. The Acolyte will be set 100 years before the events of the Skywalker Saga, and remember, I really don't care about anything except for the Skywalker Saga. It includes at least one character from the High Republic novel series. Again, I feel like that's a waste of time. I know people are enjoying it and are excited about the High Republic, but it doesn't matter to me. The trailer is available online. You can see it for yourself. It set records for the Star Wars YouTube channel and views. But if you're interested in learning about what you saw in that trailer, go to StarWarsNews.net. They have a great breakdown of everything that you see in there on their website, and that is dated March 20th. So go to StarWarsNews.net and look for their article on the Acolyte trailer dated March 20th. That's a show that's coming, but the Bad Batch animated series is here. It's, in fact, through the halfway point of the 3rd and final season right now on Disney+. In fact, since we're past March 27th now, the show is through 9 of the final 15 episodes. April 3rd is going to see 2 episodes released on the same day, and then remember, the finale comes at the beginning of May, before May the 4th, so I think it's May 1st is the final episode of Season 3 and the finale of the series.
Don't you ever want to do anything exciting?
Any news on the live-action Skeleton Crew show? Well, no. Well, except one of the actors did say something on a red carpet that might hint the show could be coming this fall, so I guess that's news. Dane DeLiegro stressed he didn't have any information behind his statement that the show might be coming this fall, but he not only repeated his guess, he specified that Lucasfilm likes to release things in November. I don't know if this is his way of not breaking an NDA or something like that. Well, I don't know. I mean, it could be. Like the Acolyte, Star Wars Celebration goers last year got a sneak peek of footage that had been shot before any of the strikes had shut things down. Now, this show could be close to being ready, or it could be a long way away from being ready. Remember, Tony Gilroy pointed out when he was talking about Andor, computer effects were what was causing big delays. But if they really want the show out, they can spend the money to speed things up. So if there aren't a lot of computer-generated effects, and there's more practical effects in the show, maybe they don't have to spend as much money. And maybe Skeleton Crew does, in fact, follow the Acolyte. And hey, what about Gilroy's Andor? Well, we have to temper our excitement because Season 2 is not expected until 2025.
Let's go!
Now for some bad news. Actor and stuntman Brendan Wayne, a stand-in and the in-suit actor for much of the Mandalorian streaming series, says there's no indication there will be a Season 4 of The Mandalorian.
It's a lie.
He spoke to Screen Rant in an interview posted in mid-March where he also indicated that Pedro Pascal will be voicing The Mandalorian in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that was announced last month. So is that good? Well, it's been well documented that Pascal isn't much responsible for the action of Din Djarin when the helmet's on. That's most of the time. Still, if you were going to hear a new voice, I think that would take from the character a little bit. Now, don't take this news note to mean that Brendan Wayne is saying there will not be a 4th season of the show that inspired This Is the Way podcast.
Exactly.
In fact, let me quote Brendan Wayne from that article. In my opinion, I don't know how you waste the opportunity to keep telling the story. It's too important. I say, please, let's have a Season 4. Let's not kill ourselves. There's so much that Mando can tell that nobody else can. And I mean that without any ego. Let's do it. Let's have it. Amen, brother.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Moving on to Star Wars game news. Sometimes I've got a lot of news for gamers, and sometimes I just don't. This month, I've got one and only one news note for a real-time strategy game in the works from BitReactor. The parent company may have sold them off, and co-development unit Respawn's first-person shooter game may have been canceled amid massive layoffs, but BitReactor announced on X that their in-development RTS Star Wars game is still a go. So you can check at BitReactor on X, formerly Twitter, for their March 2nd posting that tells you all about it. But you can also check to see if there's an update since this news update podcast was recorded. Maybe there's something new coming out when you're listening to this.
Let's get out of here, Luke! Whoa, the plank is falling! Help!
Okay, collectors. Imperial March is nearly over, and depending on when you're listening to this, it may actually already be over. Hasbro had some offerings this month befitting of the promotion. There was a vintage collection group of figures from Ahsoka, Captain Enoch, and some of Thrawn's Night Troopers. 4 figures for $55. But hear me out. You could put that money toward the vintage collection Darth Vader, which I think is much more reasonable, at $17. It's 3 3/4 inch with a red bladed lightsaber. Sounds like a better buy to me. You could also get a vintage collection Stormtrooper, also at $17. Heck, you could get 2 troopers to follow your Vader and still pay less for those 2 troopers and the 1 Vader than you could for all of those Ahsoka figures. I know, some people really love the look of Captain Enoch, but then you're saying you're buying Captain Enoch for $55. Just understand that. There's a vintage collection HK-87 assassin droid from Arcana, as well as those other figures. It's not as iconic, if you can ask me, so I suppose you could buy one of those for $17, and the Vader and the Stormtrooper. There's also a Dark Trooper from The Mandalorian, which is cooler simply by virtue of you being able to pose Luke, slashing at one like in the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. Dark Trooper also $17. In the Black Series line, things get a little more expensive. You can get a 3-pack of Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor characters, a Purge Trooper, the Second Sister, and Inquisitor-themed Cal Kestis. That's going to set you back about $75, and it's available only through Amazon. There's also a 2-pack of Clone Trooper and B-1 Battle Droid, now available for pre-order through Hasbro Pulse. Later, it will be online at the DisneyStore.com, too. That's $40, and that will come out this summer. Also part of Imperial March, the Jazzwares Micro Galaxy Squadron series has an N1 starfighter, but not the previously released one that was themed for The Mandalorian. This new version comes with mini Anakin and R2-D2 figurines. I think it's painted yellow, and it's going to retail around $15 when it hits stores in April. Pre-orders, though, those appear to be sold out.
Your eyes can deceive you.
I'll tell you what, Star Wars is actually throwing a lot of support behind the Acolyte. We talked about Ahsoka. Some of those figures took a long time to come out. But the Acolyte is already announcing toys for this show, even before the debut. And I can tell you, having done this for a while, that is rare for an unknown property. This is not, Obi-Wan Kenobi or a Darth Vader coming out for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. This is not even a version of a popular character like Ahsoka. There are Black Series figures on the way already for May the Assassin that you see in the trailer, Jedi Master Soul, who's in the trailer, Padawan Jeki Lon, and Jedi Knight Yord Fandar. Those are all gambles, if you ask me, for the toy maker. The only figure that I think is coming out that is probably the surest thing, and we don't know anything about this character. Trinity, Carrie-Anne Moss, she's acting as Jedi Master Indara. That may be your surest bet. But what if that character's only in one scene? We don't know. There are also vintage collection editions of Jedi Master Soul and May, the Assassin. Neither of those carries the weight of Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia Organa, though. She's got a New Hope version, and then there's a New Hope R2-D2 coming out in the vintage collection. Both of those are some more solid buys. Those, if you are a young person or the Acolyte is your thing, okay, I can understand it. But man, they're taking a big gamble by putting those toys into. Those are the kind of things that I hope end up in a landfill somewhere, like the E.T. Atari cartridge. I just can't see how they're making so many toys available before the show's even out, before they're even sure what they have.
Uh-oh. It's not good.
All right, moving on. There's a Black Series Holocomm edition Darth Maul coming. I was burned by the Force Vision Qui-Gon Jinn that came out with the Black Series. Now, it's supposedly see-through plastic. And I was vocal about not letting myself get burned by this type of figure again. Maybe I wasn't the only one complaining about it, because they did something different for this Holocomm edition. They have a light-up Holopuck for display included in the package. Now, so you can take batteries. Mercifully for us parents of small children, we're probably going to have 3 AAA batteries around. You press a button, and then the Holocomm edition will glow on that stand for 30 minutes. So it's supposed to help make it look more like a holo image. Darth Maul, not my speed, but available for pre-order now is a Darth Vader Holocomm edition. Now you're speaking my language. It's available from Amazon only, $27.99 pre-order, and then of course you gotta include tax and stuff. Even though I was burned before, I gotta admit I'm considering this one. You gotta look at it yourself, and again, I said I'm not gonna get fooled by the images on the website. I don't know, maybe I'll take a flashlight underneath my Qui-Gon Jinn and see if that makes it look cooler. I don't know. I am not, however, interested in the Black Series Last Command 4-pack that has Luke, Mara Jade, Joruus C'baoth, and Luke with 2 U's. That's going to retail for almost $100, $99.99. It's available for pre-order on HasbroPulse.com and DisneyStore.com, and it will be available in Disney parks later, maybe this year, possibly this summer. And I know what you're saying, but Luke is your favorite character. Yes, movie version Luke from the original trilogy, not Luke and Mara Jade and all that stuff from Legends books.
May the Force be with you.
Still talking collectibles, 2 new Hot Toys are coming out from Ahsoka, and one is based on the Clone Wars as well. It's Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati in 1/6 scale, and there's a Mandalorian Super Commando as well. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to again. These collectibles, the Hot Toys versions, extremely impressive in their detail and reproduction of characters as they are seen on screen. They are impressive, but they come at a very steep price. $265 for the helmeted Mandalorian Super Commando of the Darth Maul loyal Death Watch sect. $280 then for Shin Hati. And then $285 for the Balin Skull. These are available right now for pre-order, but there's an Umbra operative ARC Trooper as well from Battlefront 2 listed on the site that was not available yet and only in pre-order with no sale price as of the recording of this podcast episode. It's black, and you guessed it, yellow Umbra colored trooper with 4 weapons and a black backpack with yellow drawing on it, several hand combinations so you can hold the different weapons, and then there are at least 3 helmets with interchangeable helmet accessories. Something else available on the Sideshow Collectibles website is a new limited edition. There's only 500 going to be made available. You can pre-order it right now. A Darksaber prop replica by EFX. The retail price for this thing, and again, this is just the hilt as far as I can tell. $605 for this Darksaber. Let me read you what it says about it. The Darksaber is an ancient black-bladed lightsaber created by Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian to be inducted into the Jedi Order. Yada, yada, yada. Sideshow and EFX are extremely proud to offer the first officially licensed prop replica of the Darksaber, as seen in the Star Wars live-action series The Mandalorian. The details, let me click on that. It just tells you the brand and manufacturer, what's in the box. The Darksaber prop replica features full 1-to-1 scale lightsaber prop replica, worldwide edition size, and there's only 500 available. All metal construction, so it's probably going to be heavy. Each lightsaber is individually hand-weathered. Modern EFX display base constructed from wood, metal, plexiglass, and stainless steel. Numbered plaque with metal plaque stand and a prop story certificate of authenticity. Additional details, limit of 2 per person, so somebody could actually buy 2 Darksabers. How about that? And the item that is shown is a prototype. When shipped, the final production piece may differ from what you are seeing on the website. $605, and that is just available now for pre-order. So if you want to be own one of 500 replica props, and you have $605 and you think the Darksaber is that cool, all power to you. And if you're interested in throwing money away, there is a Black Series helmet coming soon from Moff Gideon's Mandalorian Dark Armor. So you could buy the helmet and then have the Darksaber too. That's actually it's under $100, which that's a good sign, I guess. But I doubt they're lowering prices, so it probably has fewer features. Let's take a look. It has a light-up front visor, interior welcome light FX, whatever that means. There's a display mode for an hour-long visor and interior light display. I'm sure that doesn't look anything like what we saw in the show. And then, yes, as I suspected, there's no mention of dialogue, so you can't hear Giancarlo Esposito giving any dialogue. It's just a light-up helmet. I guess you can't wear it because it says it's padded inside, but then again, you have to have a small head because those things do not run big. They run very small. So if you have a large head or you ever have problems buying baseball caps or hats or stuff, you're not going to be able to fit your head into that thing.
My clothes! We're finally going to be perfect.
But if you have that kind of money, why not go with Grogu, right? There is a 1-to-1 scale, that's right, life size, if you could call it that, Grogu at almost a foot tall. The product description says handcrafted, multi-layered hand painting, dry brushed, hand-applied fuzz hair, hand-painted eyes, endearing smile, and textured skin. Premium artist resin, replica fabric. Well, I mean, replica fabric? Okay, and he's posable. the Grogu Collector's Edition portrait figure is about the price of a lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge, much less than that Darksaber we mentioned. This is available at ashtondrake.com for $200. But yeah, shipping and handling is going to cost you an extra $21, so spend your money wisely, folks.
Just one more thing.
And Disney Parks news time. In case you haven't already heard me mention it, I probably did last month, but new scenes are going to start appearing on the Star Tours rides from the Ahsoka series in early April. Currently, travelers can visit Tatooine, Hoth, Coruscant, Naboo, Geonosis with the under-construction Death Star, Kashyyyk, Jakku, Crate, Kef Bir, and Exegol. From the article on the Disney Parks blog page, it appears there are a set of paths for the 6 planets that appear in the original trilogy and prequels, and then for the 4 sequel trilogy planets, not including Ahch-To. Cetos and Peridia are going to join the randomized queues on occasion. I guess that counts as sequel trilogy, since they only have 4. Maybe they'll add Cetos and Peridia. You're probably going to be able to hear voices of Ahsoka, Din Djarin, Grogu, and even Cassian Andor. I guess he would probably be more prequels, though, right? It's part of the Season of the Force campaign at some of the parks. But notably, Tokyo Disneyland is a little different, so their Star Wars offerings for the theme were not mentioned.
I think we can let him off with the warning this time.
And besides, I think they have some other worlds opening now that are much more exciting for people. So I know a lot of YouTubers are going over to Japan and excited about new lands or something. So Tokyo Disneyland's got enough to worry about, I suppose, rather than participating in this Seasons of the Force. Now, if you think I've missed anything, you disagree with me, send in emails. thisisthewaypodcast@gmail.com. How can you interact with me, This Is The Way Podcast? Well, you can find our links at linktree/This Is The Way Pod. linktr.ee/This Is The Way Pod. Thank you so much for joining me, your host, for This Is The Way Podcast's March 2024 News Update. Until next time, I'm Steve Lascalzo, and may the Force be with you, always.